What's up, y'all? Okay. What's up, y'all? So, I'm doing this serenade session with my live, right? For my subs. And they convinced me to take this conversation that we were having from over there to over here on this forum. Oh, man. And I just want you guys to know that I really prayed about how to approach this conversation because I don't think a lot of people are going to initially like what I have to say. But I feel like in order to help instill some new perspectives on the matter and perhaps give all this craziness that's happening in America some silver lining, I want to bring this to the open forum here for you guys. So basically, my stance on what's happening with this whole DEI shutdown in America is that it's actually a good thing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe she just said that. I know, especially because I'm over here like constantly advocating for just Black people in the world, but also Black Americans, obviously, because we're Black people in the world. But let me just tell you why. Before you just jump to conclusions as to like why this is a horrible thing or as to why this is something that like, again, I am saying that I'm so wrong for and you guys want to come from my jugular, before you do that, because it's cool. If you want to do that, you know, you got a right to. But before you do that, let's just break this down a little bit, okay? Okay. So, the reason why I think that it's a good thing is because we're talking about corporate America, right? And I feel like when it comes to the Black community and just the communities of color or underrepresented communities and things like that, we want so bad to be seen. We want so bad to be a part of the rat race. And yet at the same time, we can't stand it. At the same time, we want to try to force ourselves into places that we're not really welcome. I feel like what this does is actually opens up an opportunity to give us all clarity, to see who and what really stand for what. And I think that so many people are so caught up with playing capitalism and wanting to be materially well off and financially and economically well off that they're actually willing to sell themselves out for it, not realizing that that's what it is. So it's like, if people are not giving you a position or a job for the color of your skin, like, why would you want to be there? Why would you even want to be there? You're not going to be respected. You're not going to be taken care of. You're never going to actually get to be promoted. You're going to get used. You're going to get used. So the silver lining here is that there's actually an opportunity that literally the divine and that God are going to come in and create. And also you are going to know if you're somebody who is a person of color, or again, a part of a demographic that's considered a minority because you're underrepresented. You're going to know that if you did get that job, if you did qualify, if they do bring you in, then most likely they actually want you, not just because they're trying to fill some quota. Because that's another problem that I had with this whole DEI thing. It's like we think as a community that it's a win. But really, it's kind of like, is it though? Because now we're just continuing to be masked with the illusion of the fact that we matter when really we're just being put in a position to shut up. We're just being shut up. And again, we're still not really respected. We're still not really being seen. We're still not really getting promotions. We're still not getting any of these things. And I feel like it's an opportunity for redirection. Everybody out here wants to talk about be your own boss, do this, do that. We have an opportunity to create a society outside of society because of this. And again, people are making it very clear. They're drawing a line in the sand. Don't we want that? Aren't we tired of the illusions and the confusion and the condescending nature of this monster? Don't we want that? I don't think it's right that, again, the workforce and that history of really the world, but very specifically we're talking about America right now. But I don't think it's right at all what has happened and the reasons as to why people who are a part of minority communities aren't considered qualified. Why? Because, yeah, we're not able to get the same levels of education most of the time. We're not able to be put in positions to be developed, to be corporate fucking standouts. We're not put in positions to succeed in this space anyway. I mean, when you think about it, you're honestly kind of still being set up for failure, because now you're having to assimilate to a culture that is actively killing your roots and your culture, actively killing it. And you're choosing to come and participate in it simply because you believe that it's going to make you materially well off, when really all you're doing is then going and getting a loan and buying a house and doing this and doing that. And you're just continuing to be shackled by capitalism. You're continuing to be shackled by it. And it blows my mind that like more people don't actually realize how much more capable they are, because they're afraid to stand on their own 2 fucking feet. They need these corporations as a crutch to set off their careers and to make them feel qualified and to make them feel validated. Like, you actually don't need none of that shit. We're the ones who put power behind that by continuing to chase it and make it competitive and want it and all this stuff. We're the ones who put the power behind it. But imagine if you actually reeled that shit back. Imagine if you actually took their power away by reclaiming your power and recognizing that people are just giving us an opportunity to stand on our own 2 fucking feet. I mean, look at all the things that are actually happening out here in the landscape of the world. I mean, for most minorities, yes, we are all immigrants, people. This is America. So like, where do your roots really lie? This is an opportunity for you to not only self-explore, but to self-discover. And then who knows, like, okay, yeah, sometimes the plans, they might change a little bit. The plans might change a little bit. Okay? But the intentions don't. Do I think it's wrong that we're still not given those opportunities? Abso-fucking-lutely. It's wrong. I'm going to fight for that all day long. I'm going to continue to do what I have to do, even if I have to do it by myself and off of my own back, because of the fact that someone has to do it. And apparently it's got to be somebody that looks like me, or we're not going to get it. And we're not going to see an image or a representation of somebody who has broken the mold. And there are some people who have broken the mold, but most of those people are not going to be put on commercially. Most of those people aren't going to be put on through the mainstream. You have to be willing to do your own diligence. And it can be so hard because this shit literally consumes us. It consumes us. And so it can be hard to want to like break the mold, even just down to like doing your diligence and trying to study and trying to find these different spaces and places and people. And it's like, if you can't find it, then why not figure out how to create it? One of my favorite quotes is that you don't have to be great at the start, but you gotta start to be great. I personally believe that melanated people got the God gene. Okay, this is no shade to anybody else. Y'all are still great. Let me just cook real quick. Melanated people got the God gene. I personally believe the darker you are, the closer you are to God. The closer you are to the God gene, which makes you probably some of the most capable individuals. But this system and this reverse psychology and this gaslighting and all this extra shit has convinced people that we're not capable. And life is a bitch. Absolutely. But look, I believe that the harder the challenges are that are in front of us, the more highly called that you are. And the problem actually is that most people don't want to have to step up to that calling, because it's so much easier to settle into something that is simple and that is set up for you already. And that somebody else went and figured out all the kinks and the ins and the outs, and nobody actually wants to have to step up to that calling. That's the problem. Not people not letting you in the fucking door at the party. Like, why do you want to be at that party then? That's like what I don't understand. That's the part that irritates me so much about the culture. It's like, oh, well now, like, okay, well, check it out. If you're afraid of being broke for a little bit, then you just ain't built like that. If you're afraid of having to struggle or having to go without for a while, you just ain't fucking built like that. And you might as well go dig your grave now. For real, because for the rest of your life, all you're ever going to be is somebody's slave. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Other than that, like, somebody has to give everybody a reality check. And if it has to be me today, and if I have to be the one that gets the bad backlash because I'm coming here and I'm serving y'all the real, then it is what it is. Because somebody's got to do it. Because y'all are not hearing it enough. You guys keep hearing things that are only continuing to reinforce division and destruction. And then here's the other problem, is that people don't want to actually have to step up and be the bigger people, because we feel like at some point we're going to convince narcissists to care. And then we become the fucking narcissist because we think the world revolves around our ass and that we should get the same white privilege. And again, it just is what it is, people. We're not going to get that same white privilege. You might get other kinds of privileges, especially if you start to become more white adjacent. If you start becoming more white adjacent, you might fuck around and get some privileges. If you are meeting certain standards of beauty, again, or economics, and you're in positions of power and stuff like that, you might get a certain level of privilege that is within that 6 degrees of separation of white, what we call white privilege. We feel so entitled to have that because we've never had it, essentially, as a collective, as a culture. And so we're like, now it's our turn. Now we get that. But it's like, you're trying to fit into a glass slipper that's actually not yours. And now you're getting mad about it because you're asking for something that was actually never yours to have. So instead, how about stepping into your own power? Fuck the privilege. Step into your power. Step into your power. That's the privilege. That's the privilege. But again, people are so disconnected and their freaking pineal glands are so calcified and people don't know how to take care of themselves properly. And so you allow yourself to get diseases of the mind, and then diseases of the spirit, and then diseases of the body. These diseases of the mind are what I would consider altered states. Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you've never heard of him, please go check him out. He actually breaks it down beautifully, what it means to be in an altered state. So when you're experiencing things like fear and worry and stress and depression and anxiety and things that aren't serving you positively because they are actively sucking the life force out of you, these are things that we would consider altered states. And you see right now, what's happening is that the system is currently putting us in those altered states so that they can essentially prove a point. Why are we going to hand them that win by proving the point for them? Because all we're going to end up doing is being exactly what they want us to be, which is like angry and chaotic. I bet you that they would be freaking dumbfounded if everybody in the community was like, yeah, we can get behind this. All right, we're going to support this too. They would be like, what? They would not see that coming. They would not see that coming. And in fact, I personally believe, it's a theory of mine, that would actually elevate us. It would take us further. It would put us in positions to be trusted, because really, I personally think that what the people in power and the Anglo community really want to see is they want to see that we are civilized and they want to see that we are developed a certain type of way. Are we ever going to be good enough for anybody who hates us? No. So get over it, regardless of who it is and what their skin color is and whatever. If somebody is just not happy for real with who they are, you're never going to be good enough because they're already just not good. You feel me? So get over that. Stop trying to seek that out here. And I feel like everybody wants to be a part of this shit show so badly, as opposed to taking a step back and being like, you know what? Let me reassess my approach to life. Let me reassess what's happening here and let me actually see it as a good thing. Because perhaps, just maybe, if I change my whole perspective around this, I will see the silver lining and I will manifest destiny because I will be in a vibration to attract the things that I am looking for. I will get that job, and not because I am black or because I'm a woman or because of any of these things, but because I am the most qualified. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be the one who goes and creates the jobs for everybody else. It can be really hard to get organized when you have a whole bunch of communities and people who don't actually share an intention or an agenda. It's like we're all out here scattered. Our values are misplaced. We aren't really trying to be the best people. We're just trying to have the most shit and look the coolest and have security. And this and that. I'm not saying that's wrong to want. I'm just saying that it's become completely lopsided and we're out of balance, people. We're out of balance. We're out of whack. Okay? And that's why everybody wants to sit here and be angry as opposed to being like, yeah, shoot, look crazy, look insane, be delusional, join the club. Okay? Because this is actually a good thing. This is called evolution, people. This is called evolution. The cream of the crop will rise to the top. Change your mindset. Let all the crazy, it's going to rain and pour fire and this and that, just like all the historically biblical texts and stuff like that talk about. It's happening right now. Let it happen. Let it happen. Because when that fire rains down, there is a cleansing that is coming with it. And one of the things that can be the hardest pill to swallow, if you're somebody who's a believer in a higher power, or somebody like me who believes in the Heavenly Father in Christ Jesus, then you are somebody who acknowledges that God wills everything. God is in control. There's nothing out here that happens that God doesn't clear, that he doesn't want to happen. So then we think, well, shit, does God just hate us? Does God just hate us? God's just waiting for us to wake up. He's just waiting for us to wake up. He's waiting for us to open our eyes, all of them, so that we can finally see who we really are and what this whole charade and this whole smoke show really is. And we could actually create our own societies, people. We could create our own societies, but we're afraid. And then we let this illusion of all these people in power convince us that we should be afraid. Get your guns and get your whatever and be afraid. And it's like we convince ourselves of that. And again, we're so afraid of losing our materials and the things that we become attached to. We become so afraid of that it actually puts us in a state of analysis paralysis, where we just kind of idly watch and don't participate on any level, perhaps other than complaining. Yeah. So stop complaining. Change your mindset. Recognize that this is a good thing because it's going to make things imminently and evidently clear. Please, people, I beg you, you are capable. You are qualified. You are powerful. So please stop acting like a maggot. Please stop it. Now, if you are a maggot, then touche. But if you're not, then cut it. Cut the ish. Because you're only going to continue to live in a cycle of misery. if you don't, and where you feel like the world is against you. It's all simply going to start with a mindset shift. If we can, at the very least, start taking on a different perspective. It's not to say you're not allowed to feel angry. It's not to say you're not allowed to have emotions, but how are you going to positively channel that to take your power back? Like I said, I'm so sick of y'all complaining about not being welcome in places that don't want you there. Like, that's going to be conducive to your mental health that you keep talking about you need 10 days off from your work day for? How do you get 10 days off in one work day? That doesn't even make sense. Like, y'all don't even understand some of the things that you're really trying to like ask for out here. It's completely contradictory. And you're not able to even have that kind of inner dialogue to assess yourself, to recognize that like, oh, you know what? This shit actually don't make no sense. Why am I even really complaining? I need to check myself because I want to be in a healthy working environment. And yet at the same time, I'm going to complain about the fact that a non-healthy working environment doesn't want me there. And then it's like suddenly people feel like that means that they're just like their dreams are crushed. Stop giving people that much power. Stop giving people that much power. Stop contributing to the division. Stop. Because look, at the end of the day, not all white people are evil. They're not. So like cut that too, because then it just creates this division. We start creating these stigmas and these stereotypes and typecasting people just like we don't want done to us as minority communities. We start doing that to other people, and now we're just even more a part of the problem. There are some people who do want to see you succeed, who are going to put you in a position to thrive. But again, if you're coming at stuff a certain type of way where you're combative and you're projecting, then like, you know, good luck with that. Because you're going to attract more of that. So let's just reevaluate ourselves here, people. Let's just understand why we're actually angry. You know, let's be progressive about what we're going to do with this energy and these emotions and things like that. Let's be real with ourselves. If perhaps we're maybe just not fucking qualified for certain things. Excuse my language. Well, there are probably some kids in here. Kids, do better. But let's just be real about that. And then let it motivate us. Let it make us better. You're not going to be instantly gratified all the time. The answer is not always going to be yes. You're not always going to get into every door. As a matter of fact, there will probably be 100 doors that close in your face before one finally opens up. You know what I mean? So I'm going to, stop there because clearly I could just like keep going and keep going. Because I feel very passionately about trying to help shape this generation. And this generation to me is everybody who's currently living and breathing and able to participate in the world. So I want us to just do better, people. At the end of the day, it will make life that much more vivacious and enjoyable for everybody, for real. And like, shit, who doesn't want to innovate? Who doesn't want to pioneer? Only people who are weak-minded and weak-spirited and lazy. So please, I pray over y'all. I'm going to just say a prayer to close this out. I am praying identity over you. I am praying divinity over you. You are so much more than your skin color, than your background, than your levels of education, than your, family tree. You're so much more than all of these things. So much more. Regardless of what those things may communicate to the world about you, I pray that you are able to see yourself outside of that box and outside of that mold. I pray that you're able to look at every closed door and every rejection as protection, and redirection, and redirection to your purpose, to your path, to whatever it is. Because again, we're allowing so much division in. So I pray unity. I pray wholeness over you. I pray healing over you. I pray health. I pray wealth. And I pray happiness over you, as well as peace and protection and prosperity. I pray all of these things over y'all. I pray that everybody can get on the vibration where they start to feel good and confident and hopeful about all the things that are going on in this world, as opposed to fearful and worrisome and chaotic. Amen. Claim it, people. Bless you. Thank you for indulging me in this conversation. And thank you for being open-minded to receiving these messages, because I genuinely appreciate that. That's like a really mature quality. So shout out to y'all, because that shit's attractive. All right. Have a great rest of y'all night. And y'all like my hair? Shout out to the 4C Queens. Bye, y'all.